I think we're live. I'm not sure to be honest. But hey,
Yes, we all are.
are you all going to open camera or is it just going to be the sub debate?
Oh yeah, I can turn my camera on.
Yeah, that'll be
Yeah,
pretty
no,
cool.
we should. Yeah, we should turn our cameras on. Hold on, let me turn mine
All right.
on
I
as
mean, you're a
well.
little bit out of frame though,
What's up, brother?
Shakit.
Yeah.
Okay,
Uh,
so
Hold
it's just that my screen is right here. If I put my camera on top of my screen,
oh
it like I pulled this out to play Counter-Strike, and the camera doesn't reach all the way out here, so it has to still make
oh
ass.
shit, I feel you. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So I think we should start
Mm.
by introducing yourself and then giving your opinion whether you believe God exists or not. You know, just like a 1 minute
Yes.
explanation about your view.
Sure.
So let's start with
Yeah.
Shakit.
I can start. I mean, I genuinely do not believe that God exists. I don't think that the evidence provided by the religious scripture that we have are enough to establish God's existence. And I think anybody who believes in God is just seeking comfort, I guess. That's my opinion.
Okay, now what's your opinion, Shakit? If you could also introduce yourself and state your
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. I guess I'm Shock T. I live in Colorado. I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. I like believe in a higher power. I don't. I don't really trust organized religions.
Mm.
Um, I think that if you want to seek like a relationship with a god or a higher power, that's between you and your creator. Like shouldn't be like dictated, or you shouldn't be told like kind of. But I can get in way more into all of this, like morality and
Yes.
like how I get it, how I navigate that and stuff.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
then I have a question. So do you basically believe that the spiritual realm exists?
I believe that's like a it's like a speculative thing for me.
Mhm.
So like I'll just start off by saying that I believe that we are the same as the universe. Like we're a part of the universe, right?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And if we're a part of the universe, then your purpose, like you're part of the universe that's been given consciousness. So like
Mm.
your purpose in life is to experience the majesty
Mm.
that is the universe. Like your purpose in life is just to witness all of the crazy shit that happens. And
Mhm.
so I find I don't like Terrence McKenna was saying that everybody sees themselves as a wave, but the wave is a part of the ocean. Like you'll never be separate. Everything, like you have an inherent knowledge and like
Mm.
place in the universe. And like
Mm.
when it comes to consciousness, though,
Mm.
it's the same similar sort of thing. I believe that there's like a one consciousness that split itself into many consciousnesses to make interactions more depthy and interesting in the world. So how
Okay.
essentially how mean can I be to myself? How funny can I be to myself to increase the things that can happen?
Okay. So for me, this is where it gets extremely ambiguous because you're basically saying that you believe that there is a higher consciousness that kind of split. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that it split, that consciousness split itself and then
Yes.
became other living beings. Am I understanding it correctly?
So yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna be like, hey, what I'm saying is 100% correct. This is
Mhm.
just what I have like come to, if it, from all the stuff of like hearing, people coming back from the dead and Armageddon and all this crazy shit that's in religious texts. I don't.
Mhm.
I find this way easier to believe and more
Mhm.
scientific, in that like it comes from just reasoning of I'm here and I'm a part of this system. So like
Mhm.
I am like it just seems like that. But what was the question? I'm sorry. I feel like I got
Yeah, no, I mean, you answered this, you answered the question perfectly. I mean, I was just thinking that this consciousness that you were talking about, right? Do you believe that it is a superstitious being,
No,
or
I
is it
believe that
just a
it's like
philosophy, a metaphor for something that is unknown?
the best way that I can like try and explain it is if there's like a big room and there's a mesh down the middle of the room, and then
Mhm.
on the left side of that mesh is God. It's everything, all possibilities, any whatever. And then every once in a while, something goes through the mesh and becomes real in our world. It like it becomes real. And then whenever it goes away, it goes back into that potentiality all room. So we're like a very temporary thing, and that's just like slight expressions of the everything, all everything being. And I don't know if it's a being or if it's part of the system, but
Mhm.
or if the God is the system and we're inherent like we're all everything is God all the time. It's
Yeah, yeah. I mean, one thing I do agree with you in is that, organized religion is not really the best thing for our societies, in my opinion, because I feel like even though they preach, an afterlife and they preach, eternal life and all that, I feel like the reason they were designed is because they wanted to establish control on this earth. I don't know if
yes,
you agree with that. I mean,
yes,
and this
I
is,
believe
I
that.
guess, further exemplified in the fact that notice how in every single religious scripture there is a punishment for apostasy. So if you leave the religion, I mean, and I'm talking from the perspective of Islam and Christianity, there is like a death punishment.
Yeah, it's the worst
So yeah,
traitor to well, so you got look at that from their point of view. And that's
yeah,
like have you seen The Matrix?
yes, I have, yeah,
You know Cypher, the guy who he wanted back in the Matrix. He experienced real life. He experienced what it was like to be a real human being and was like, "No,
yeah,
I like eating the fake steak. I want back in the system."
yeah,
That's how they view people who leave their religion.
yeah,
They're like
exactly,
it's like the ultimate traitordom in their eyes. But like I
yeah,
again, this is like a way you have to take a huge step back and be like, hey, this is why these people think this and justify that shittiness. But it's it's also like chaos is also inherent and should be valued in the system. Like when the way I handle free will is a lot like existentialism, or it is existentialism, where like you don't have to believe in no God, but you go on the assumption that there is no God, and you go on that assumption because if there's a God, then there's fate, there's a storyline. Your story is defined and decided. You know what I mean? And
true,
and but like if you don't believe in a God, then you believe that you don't existence might be like meaningless or like it might be devoid of meaning for you, so like that's terrifying, and that terror is existential dread. You have so much
yeah,
freedom that you don't know what to do with yourself, and
yeah,
you have it's terrifying because you don't have a plot, but it is also really freeing because any decision that you do make helps build onto your RPG character build of who you are.
yeah,
And you can always start making different decisions and change your build, which is really freeing and interesting. But it also means that if you're walking down the street and you get hit by a meteor, that's your fault because nobody else is responsible. Like it's like you are at that place at that time and that bad thing happened to you and you were just out of luck, bad RNG. But like
mm,
that leaves you responsible for bad RNG.
yeah.
Um,
But but fundamentally, that's what life is. You don't really have control over anything if you think about it. Like your intelligence, your personality, and all of those things are determined by genetic factors, which are out of your control, and environmental factors as well, which are out of your control for the most part.
but all this
So,
is like assumptions on assumptions.
what do you mean by that?
No,
When it comes down to like proving the existence of other people, like I can't prove that you exist. I can only prove that I exist. And then there's all these things that the world and society tell me, and I have to take into account whether I believe Australia exists, even though I've never been there. But I also have to believe dietary advice or whatever the fuck. So like, there's all this
Yeah,
room for
yeah,
ambiguity of knowledge, and so like, all I can speak for is my point of view and from what
okay.
I've seen and what I could reasonably be convinced of.
Now I have a question, right?
yeah, yeah.
Since both of y'all don't actually believe in the Abrahamic religions, I would say, right? Or like God, how do you derive your morals? Where do you get your morals from?
Morals are a
Mm.
really fucking crazy topic, because the more
Um,
that I look into them, more they break down. Um,
I mean, I would say that morals are very subjective in my opinion. I don't think that there is a source from which you can derive objective morality from. That's what I believe.
Yeah, but how do
Because
exactly.
you
if you
Yeah.
think
derive
about it,
your
right?
morals, your subjective morals? I'm not talking about objective morals, but your specific morals. How do you, which process do you undergo in order to gain or derive morals out of this like
Well,
meaningless
I
world?
mean, Yeah, I mean, I can speak. I mean, the way I derive my morals is that if it aligns or harmonizes with my biological desires, then it's most likely moral. Does that make sense? Like, for example, I would never kill somebody because it hurts the species I'm a part of.
Hmm.
Or I would never steal because it can hurt the species I'm a part of.
So you approach it in a scientific
So,
way.
well, I mean, yeah, kinda. Doesn't it make sense?
Oh, it does make sense.
Mine's
I mean, that's why killing is bad. Or, I mean, murder, sorry. Murder is bad, especially if you murder somebody who's innocent.
see,
That's
I
obviously bad.
view. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
No, no, go ahead,
yeah,
Shakir.
go
Um,
ahead. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
I think I think morality to me is because like the more that I look into stuff okay, there's some really confusing questions like what's more important, equality or loyalty? Like when food starts getting short, are you more likely to share food with people that you share a group with, your family, your religion, your just someone you share a group with, your race maybe, or would you make sure everybody gets everything equally? Like it becomes really hard to decide what the correct values are, and it gets really you get into the weeds really fast when you start analyzing moral situations. So I think the best rule to go by for me is that if I'm in a system and the system it helped like create me, then I need to like do what I can to give back to the system to better the system and make it better for everybody, whatever system that is that I'm a part of, would
Yeah,
be like
yeah.
the
I
goal.
mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, as I said earlier, I think it's also about the essence of life. And this is something that is very complicated to understand. But basically, anything that improves or like anything that hurts the essence of life, I guess, is morally reprehensible, in my opinion. So
What do you
things
mean
such
by the
as
essence of
killing,
life?
stealing.
Sorry to interrupt.
Well, yes, basically,
Mhm.
no, I mean, that's a very good question. Just like our friend, right? He said something very interesting. He said that there is a higher consciousness, kinda, that split into that. That's what you said, right? I don't want to
Yeah,
misquote
it
you, but like
splits
it
like
splits.
I like you and I are the same person basically, but
Exactly.
we have
Yes.
different genetics and different backgrounds and all this other stuff. But
Yes.
like the thing that makes us conscious, like I don't think it's different from like you and
Yeah.
like the
So
mechanism is
basically,
not
I believe
different.
that thing that makes you and me conscious is like the essence of life. And it is something that is very difficult to define or analyze, I guess, but it's there.
I have some
So
stuff to
I have,
say on it.
yeah, I have like kind of similar views to you as well regarding that aspect. So yeah,
I think
go ahead. What do you want to say?
I think your consciousness is like Netflix. I think it's like Netflix on your computer. If we took
Yeah.
apart your computer, you would never be able to find what TV show you were watching. Um,
Yes, yes. Yeah.
and that you stream your consciousness. And
Yeah.
this seems to be supported to me. Again, I don't have any scientific evidence to prove any of this, but this is just like what it looks like from the outside is that if someone is born with a brain abnormality or they suffer a brain injury, that it compromises their ability to fully receive like their whatever you want to call it, consciousness, soul, whatever. That's that's what it looks weirdly similar to that to me.
Yeah, 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 it's very similar. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's how I think we should derive our morals. We should look at the essence of life and we should look if the thing or the behavior we're engaging in is hurting the essence of life. If it's in accordance and it harmonizes with the essence of life, then that behavior is morally justified and correct, in my opinion.
Okay, but let's
And
say,
again, I don't have any scientific evidence to I guess back up this claim. But for me, it just seems very rational that whatever hurts life is just morally bad.
yeah, but you
I
Right.
don't
said,
know if you
okay,
agree.
so the
You
essence of
agree?
life is what makes us conscious, right? That's what you mean with the essence of life.
Yeah, yeah. I think we're both speaking about the same thing, which is this essence of life,
So,
this higher consciousness.
so even if
Well,
something
there's
doesn't hurt you biologically, but it hurts you like maybe spiritually, that should also be condemned in your view, since you're saying the life essence is what makes you conscious. It's
Of course, whatever hurts society, whatever hurts you, whatever destroys your mental health, all of these things are against, or not against, sorry, they are bad for the essence of life, and they should be condemned. Yes.
mm-hmm. Shakiri, I thought
Yeah.
I heard you say some, so please go on.
Yeah.
oh, I don't know where to go from here. I don't know. Is there a
I
question
No,
on the
I
table?
mean, do you agree with that concept?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything that I really adamantly disagree with.
Yeah.
I don't. I think it gets really. Uh, I think it gets hard though. I don't think the moral decision is always like your loyalties get split. You know, do you do what's right for your police department, who's getting you health insurance and taking care of your family and paying your bills, or do you do what's right for the citizen, who's like getting thrown in jail on some bullshit charges and like gonna have their life fucking ruined? Like it gets harder because I don't know because you can't support because there's no I don't know. It's just I just know it gets a lot harder than we're making it sound.
Maybe because there isn't like objective morals. So if you have to look at it subjectively and then derive an objective conclusion, is very hard to do that because you might say murder is bad, but in the case of self-defense is all right. Or if you killed a pedophile, then that might be debatable. So I think that's what you're referring to, right? Or am I wrong?
Yeah, like the trolley problem. What are you gonna do if you want to kill one person versus five people or whatever the fuck? Like, you know, you're put in some situations where there's no correct answer, or like escalate the trolley problem. You could send a nuke out and in this war right now and save a bunch of lives, but you have to fucking send a nuke out. Like, there's so many. It gets really, really, really tricky, man. And I don't know what to say about it.
Mhm.
So would you
Yeah.
just to go
Blame anyone for anything because I look at so much of the gray area. Morality is really tricky and confusing for me, to be honest.
Oh, this is actually, oh my God, this is actually very interesting. It reminded me of something that I've thought about in a very long time. Let's say, for example, right, we have somebody, a man who lives like in a third world country, and he likes to beat up his wife, let's say, right? Now I've thought about it. Can we fully blame that man? Because you have to think about it. Like he's a product of his environment as well. Like for him, this kind of behavior is normalized. So can you like fully blame that man for his actions?
I think I can in the case of
Fully,
violence
but can
because
you fully blame him though?
yeah, because I don't I because violence at its end is doing like harm to someone. You know what I mean? And that I
Yes.
feel like is universally wrong. Like doing harm to someone is a bad thing. But then there's justifiable reasons to do harm to people. Look. All right. I was listening to a Jewish rabbi give a sermon one time. I don't know if it's called a sermon, but he was saying the more like if you're like, oh, I tell you about the Nazis, and then you're like, oh, what they did is terrible. Yes.
Mhm.
Now if I tell now, but like if I start telling you why they did it and giving you like reasons and making it under easier to understand, to where you can be like, okay, logically, this is how it broke down. He's like, the more that you relate to evil, the more harder it is to to see it. If you like, do you know what I mean? It's like the more you're around it, the more you get
Yeah.
used to it. And he's like, you should just reject anything that you see as evil outright. And I can't
But
really
that's the thing.
disagree with
How,
that.
sorry to interrupt right there, but like, how are they able to reject it if it's so normalized in their primitive societies that, yeah, we have a woman and you can go ahead and beat her. There's no problem there. Because you have to understand, these people are literally programmed and conditioned since childhood to see this behavior as normal.
Well,
That's
like, what do
why,
you
in
suggest?
my
Like,
opinion,
I get it, but like, what is the system that would improve that? Like, what do you put in place? What you put in
well, I
counseling and
mean, I would
you
say just to
raise
reform.
awareness?
Yeah, yeah, raise awareness, for example, just to reform the society. But you see why you cannot fully blame that man though? Like, listen, I'm with you
No,
100%. If you commit
I
violence,
understand. Like, I understand. Yes, it's just like but I have to go like a layer deep to relate. It's like
elaborate.
I can't on its face. I look at that and I say it's wrong, but then you're like, this guy has had no exposure to anything, and then I'm like, okay, and then I have to like soften, right? But my immediate reaction is to be like, that is a bad thing, and I
Of
feel like
course. Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, no, no, no,
it's even
definitely,
at its
definitely.
best, it's not a good thing. So like, yeah, like what do we? It's
Yeah.
not good.
No, no, of
Uh,
course it's not good.
Maybe you
But
have
the
to
point
go a
is like
layer
you,
deep to help solve the problem. Maybe if you
yeah.
immediately jump into problem solving, then you need to start relating to the problem.
Yeah, yeah. But this leads to like an interesting question, which is how can we solve the problem? How can we make these primitive societies more updated, for the lack of a better word?
Well, one of the things that I think is hugely problematic is that like words are deceptive on their very
Mm,
face, on what words are um deceptive. And what I mean by that is like when I say an abstract word like love, it goes
hmm
through, and I'm quoting a movie here called Waking Life, but it goes through this Byzantine conduit in your brain, and it goes through all these memories of love or lack of love, and you say, yes, I know what you're talking about. But how do I really know that you know what I'm talking about? Because words are symbols that represent things, and like they're really dead, and we really spend all of our life on this island shouting at other people on other islands hoping they hear and interpret what we're saying like properly.
mm,
Like
mm.
I feel like words are very, very dangerous because you can tell the truth and a lie in the same sentence with just the proper wording. It's so
That's true.
it's about intention, and like you can't change people's intentions. You can
Mm,
like so like I don't know what to do about it. I feel like it's part of the chaotic system. Like you want to escape the suffering of other people and make things better, but maybe that's like the way things are supposed to be.
mhm. Okay, you said something very interesting right there, which, I want further elaboration on. What is this chaotic system you're talking about?
Well, if something like I feel like we have consciousness, and that's allowed us to uh we are Homo sapiens sapiens.
hmm
And the translation for Homo sapien is
hmm
he who knows that he knows. And we
hmm
know that we're going to die. Animals may be aware that they of the concept of death, but they don't really understand what it really entails and like what it is. They may have seen it, but they don't understand like, hey, my life will end one day or whatever. And that's allowed us to like overvalue our existence, I feel like. Just a little bit. Just a little bit here. I'm not saying like, people are worthless or whatever, but um
Yeah,
I think that life is short and chaotic and expressive and full of
yeah,
problems, and you're not on this planet to solve all the problems.
yeah.
Um,
Mm,
you do what you can, and you like take
mhm,
the things that you think are valuable and like value
mm,
them, and you just do what you can. But if someone is out there trying to like predatorily um, screw people over in any way, whether it's business or war or whatever. I feel like it's an intention thing, and I don't know how to solve someone's intentions. That's just
mm,
that's the universe. That's in my eyes is the universe acting out in a chaotic way through this person.
yeah. No, that's very interesting.
It doesn't make it good, but it makes life interesting. If your neighbor gets murdered or whatever, it's not a good thing, but something happened.
Yeah, that does make life more interesting. Shit. Yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'm really interested in knowing why don't you believe in organized religion? Like, what's the main
I
reason?
see it do a lot of damage.
In
And
what
then also
aspect?
like, well, um, I can't talk to my coworker who reads the Bible every day like this. And I feel like this is the truth. And he'll tell me stuff from the Bible. And I'm like, I'm glad it's making you a better person, but I don't. Uh, I feel like it's opening the door for you to have your church tell you to do something that isn't acceptable, or maybe you're, I don't know. At the very least, it adds a I'm better than you to
Yeah,
people.
kind of. I know what you mean. Yeah, yeah,
Or you're wrong, a reason to argue with other people of other religions.
yeah. Or like, if you don't
Um,
believe that Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior, you're going to hell,
it's
basically.
just yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I find them manipulative on their face.
yeah. Do you believe in eternal life after death?
Yeah, but I don't think your memories go with you. I think that's all locally stored. I feel like you
Okay.
go back into the big God room.
Okay, so this is the first point of contention, I guess, because I do not believe in that. I basically believe once you die, that's it. You're going to decay and rot in the subterranean
Yeah, you go
abyss.
back into the
I don't see
system.
that.
That's what I mean. Like I don't your body goes back into the system 100%. Your soul goes back to wherever you're streaming it from.
But
And I don't
that's the thing. Do you believe human
and I don't
beings
know. I
have
don't know if it's
souls?
big soul soup. See, like I kind of was thinking about this earlier this week that if I was dead, like if I was dead right now and I died and a week from now I was still floating over my body or whatever, like and I still had my perspective, you know? Maybe I don't know who I am or where I am, but I'm like the personality that I still have now and I'm just watching the world. Like how long until my perspective becomes so wide? I've seen everything that that I just become numb to it and like would be back into this soul soup.
Do you believe in the concept of a soul?
Like, at what point would you stop being yourself if you just got to witness all of the world's events?
Hmm. But wait, well, do you believe in the soul?
Um, yeah, I believe there's some sort of ghost in the shell. Yeah.
Okay. But that's so interesting because how can you believe that? Like, we're just merely physical beings. We're
Well,
literally
I
just
believe like you're
biological machines
streaming
which
it
will
like
inevitably
Netflix.
die. Huh?
I believe you stream your consciousness like Netflix. Like your soul is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Netflix. I don't know if it's your soul
Okay.
or consciousness. Both of them, one is like scientific and one's like religious. They're just like,
Okay,
uh,
so you believe that once you die, your soul will like ascend to some weird superstitious place.
no. I believe my soul is constantly right now, like feeding my body my soul. Like
Okay, okay,
I got bandwidth. Like I'm getting Netflix right now. I'm watching
okay,
Dexter on Netflix. And I've been
okay,
watching Dexter on Netflix for 32 years. And eventually my body will either stop being able to receive the Dexters that I'm streaming or that that will just leave my body and it will go back into whatever computer that USB cable is plugged into.
okay. This is very interesting and actually very sophisticated as well. It's very abstract. Okay, so do you believe that the soul is like a materialistic thing? Is it tangible?
No, I
You don't
don't.
believe that?
No, I don't see. I don't know enough about science to be like. I don't know how it would fit into any sort of realistic thing. Um, like okay, I have a theory that like the the magic, all the really weird stuff that happens in the world and the universe all takes place in like the parts that you just aren't paying attention to. And all the little cracks
Mm,
is like where the magic really happens. And all the
mm.
smallest areas in your conversations with your friends, in particle physics and everything. I just believe that in the little areas that we can't quite be sure, that's where really weird stuff happens. And I believe those are like that's like weird like quantum stuff. It's not determined until like you collapse this function, right?
Yeah. That's true. That's
It,
so weird.
it, and so and there's a really weird thing. I believe it's called cutism. I have to look it
Mhm.
up. I have it on my phone. Hold on. But there's this lady, she was talking about like, hey, the system is really weird. The system
Mhm.
works like this, as far as we can tell.
Mhm.
If you are standing at, we're playing 20 questions, right? And we have you go stand outside, and all of us decide that instead of picking something that we get to ask, you get to try and ask us questions on, we're gonna just play a joke on you. And like we have to keep all of our answers consistent, so we can't lie to you, but we don't have an object pick. So you like walk in and you're like, okay, is it blue? And we're like, yes. And then you're like, is it a square? And the next person's like, no. And then eventually you go down this and you're like, okay, is it the sky? And they're like, yeah, good job. But you didn't know that it was going to be the sky, and they didn't know it was going to be the sky. You collaboratively together ended up picking the sky, right?
Mhm.
That's the so like whenever we're looking at like quantum physics, and we're looking at when specifically when wave functions collapse, that we can ask it questions and it will give us consistent answers, but the answer is different every time. But what's interesting is that we learn about the universe because these answers are consistent. Like they make I don't.
Yeah.
I'm probably doing a shit job of explaining this, but I'm condensing a whole 2.5 hour metaphysical podcast down into like one thing. So like I think
Yeah.
there's some weird universal decision making that happens, and there's room for that.
Okay, but who's the one who's making these decisions? That's what I'm trying to get at.
I don't know. I don't know if it's a teeter-totter thing where it's like, okay, the system has had enough, so it's just gonna collapse. Like, there's a fluctuation for some weird reason, like the weather, or if it's actually done on purpose. And I can't think of a way to
Yeah.
prove how you prove that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like a built-in mystery. But the
Yeah,
fact
no,
that it
honestly,
responds with consistent answers is really fucking creepy. Like there is an intelligence behind it.
Yeah, that's true. I've noticed that as well. Especially once you start studying. I mean, I'm gonna apply for medicine soon, yeah? And I'm starting to study biochemistry and physiology and all of those things. And it's very fucking weird how everything is so consistent and coherent. Like literally every single thing makes sense, you know? It makes
The
sense
name
why this process is happening in this way, or it makes sense why this interaction is happening in that way. That's what I find so fascinating about existence. It's very coherent.
I'm trying to find it. It was on the Theories of Everything podcast, and it was called
Mhm.
Cubism, QBISM. July 9th. Yeah, Cubism, the new theory that shatters our view of reality.
Yeah.
How do you write cubism? Because I think I got the wrong one.
It's Theories of Everything podcast. It's QBISM. It was published on, I think I said July 9th.
Oh,
There we go. Let's think.
Yeah, July 9th.
Deals with Kamiko's interpretation of quantum theory about the nature of the wave function superposition. Damn, this coming.
That's that's very interesting. I will watch this later. Okay, interesting. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, man, I definitely agree. Like you said, this world seems very coherent. Like everything makes so much fucking sense to the point where the only rational conclusion you would reach is that there is a creator behind it. There is like a super intelligence behind this creation.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
that's super. It is possible, like that. This is all like a fucking computer simulation. Simulation theory is also like super possible under what I'm looking at the world through. There's a couple different like theories that like I could be squeezed into, but yeah. I feel like it's like that, and religion is kind of does bad.
Okay, so wait, both of y'all believe in
People
the Big
overcommit
Bang, right? Do you believe in the Big
in
Bang?
the Big Bang. Yes.
Yeah, so
I believe in the Big Bang as well. Yeah.
which theory do you feel like is more plausible to the reason why the Big Bang occurred and like we have the universe now? What do you think happened? Do you have any thoughts on that? Or are you completely agnostic on it?
I am having enough trouble with this universe to decide what's happening outside of this universe. But like, yeah, there's a thing. One second, I want to pull this up because it's just all the different possibilities that you could run with,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
a
go ahead.
very funny Instagram reel.
In the meantime, Sham, if you can explain your viewpoint or like
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair with you, right? I am not a physicist, so I'm not really qualified to speak about what was there before the Big Bang. But I do believe that it it came from something very profound and very monumental in a way. Like I think I don't think like this universe came out of nothing. I think there was something before the Big Bang, but it is so inexplicable to the point where it's very hard to describe. It's very hard to explain what it is.
Hmm.
So, and the only thing we can do right now, as mere mortals, is just to make a bunch of assumptions.
Yeah, true. I mean, everything about the creator is assumptions. because there is no
This is
logical
just-
patterns to draw. I feel like that connect us all the way back to it.
This is just a meme that I feel like does the best job of representing this. I don't know any other way to express this because I don't have all these memorized. You got one universe theory has boundaries, time and space, beginning and end. Modality is a social construct, traditional.
Oh,
Then you've got space and multiverse, quilted theory. Space is infinite, no boundaries. Time has beginning and end. Modality is social construct. So there's like other
yeah.
universes, but they're separate and individual from ours, like starting to end. Temporal universe theory. So like the universe ends and it causes another big bang, and we restart this whole thing over and over again. Uh,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's
yeah,
scary as
we've
fuck.
seen this before.
Parallel multiverse theory, Rick and Morty universe, where everything is extremely complicated and ridiculously complicated.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
this is
I
like
mean, I've
bubble
also
bath
thought about
theory.
it. Like, what if all the questions we're asking are just completely nonsensical? Like, what if, like, when you say, "Oh, what was there before the Big Bang?" Maybe that in itself is just nonsensical and doesn't make any sense. Have you thought about that
Can
before?
you elaborate?
Yes.
Like, for
Yeah.
example, saying, "Oh, what was there before the universe?" One of the reasons it could be a nonsensical thing to say is because, well,
fly.
time didn't exist back then. So, how can you say what was before time? Like, the question itself is a logical contradiction.
Well, if there's something, if there's a higher, okay. So like, you got to think about the time as like a river that you're stuck in, and you're a fish, and the river's always coming at your face, right? You never get to go like, the river never goes backwards. It's always flowing towards you. But like to be outside of that stream of time would be, like unimaginable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But it would be what a higher dimensional being would be. Like they time would be a playable dimension for them. So I don't know how to express, because like you could be like take this to really weird places. Fourth dimensional objects cast three-dimensional shadows.
Yeah.
It gets really physics ridden. I don't know.
Well, we've never verified, like, empirically that these things are a part of reality, though. Like, that's what I'm saying. Everything we're saying right now and discussing about is just based on assumptions, unfounded assumptions, even.
I don't know. I can't say yes or no. I feel like if Neil deGrasse Tyson was here, he'd be like, no.
Yeah.
But I don't know what he would say, so I can't say that.
Damn, that's interesting. Yeah. Oh, I have like a very good question. What is like the weirdest thing you've experienced in this existence? And let me elaborate on that. Like, what I mean by that is,
Like I've ever seen
have you
Mothman
experienced
or
some?
aliens or something.
No. What I mean by that is, did you experience something that made you think, wow, this existence is so fucking weird and there is something that doesn't make sense? Like everything seems so coherent, everything seems so structured and organized, but also it's chaotic. Sometimes it's nonsensical. Have you
Um,
thought about that before?
mm,
And has it ever
no.
made you
I mean,
anxious?
like I've thought about it, but like I've thought about it in like the opposite way, where I'd be like, I wouldn't be afraid of seeing a monster or an alien or something like that. I would kill to see something that proved to me that or shook the foundations of what I think reality is. I have not seen that, and I would love to see it. It's kind of disappointing that I haven't seen it. I think of The Watchmen but like what you're saying is like back to the Watchmen thing. Okay, there's this like Dr. Manhattan is like, I have seen everything. I've seen events so small and so fast that they could hardly be able to have been said to have happened at all. And he's like, I've been looking for something that can, like me, like shake my view in reality. And then he uses this line to riz up the girl. He's like, of all the things that could have happened, it was your dad and your mom, the comedian, and I forget who her mom is, but like people that it was basically she was like her mom was raped and it made her, and he's like, it made of all the things that could have happened, it made you. And now I'm like, okay, so maybe it is like that. Maybe it's just like something so small, and the chances of it
Terrible risk, by the
happening.
way.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm doing a bad job at it. You gotta imagine a giant blue glowing man doing it, but like, I don't know. Maybe it's just that there are some things that happen that the odds are so small, even if they're somewhat mundane, that they're special to you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I know in America, right? A lot of people experience alien sightings. Is that true? And I feel like it
Yeah,
only happens in America.
yeah, it happens in America and a bunch of places where America has military bases.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know.
This, Mhm.
All I do is listen to podcasts for 8 hours a day, dense stuff, like what I
Yeah.
was telling you, and I never know what's true or what's not. But I've heard on podcasts that Lockheed Martin has downed alien spaceships and that they're reverse engineering them and we're learning to pilot them, and that it's incredibly hard to pilot them because they move in both space and time. So
Crazy.
yeah,
Do you believe in
I
that?
don't
Like,
know.
Shit.
you believe it's a real thing?
I'm starting to think that, like, because, like, I don't know. I would love to believe in aliens, but they don't really seem real thrilled on us. But then there's some weird stuff technologically that I think's happening. It could be drones, but um, there's so much history of aliens and weird stuff. I really think there's aliens. I'm on we have alien technology or some sort of technology we don't understand.
But like, my question
Because
would be, why would such an advanced species come to Earth, which is still in its primitive state, and drop them
I was
technology?
thinking about that. I was thinking about that the other day. Have you heard of North Sentinel Island?
I don't think so. No.
Then a North uncontacted tribe, the North Sentinelese. They well, they're very violent. They don't like visitors, and it's against the law to visit them and introduce any technology to them. So they're like stuck like back in like the Stone Age, bro.
Whoa.
And they are on this island and they have no idea the rest of the world exists. And they also have no idea that they are owned by the country and governed by the country of India.
Hmm.
Um, so like what if Earth is like North Sentinel Island?
Oh, we're owned in a bigger, in like a bigger state or like a bigger
And
planet
we're
group.
not a big deal. Like,
Yeah.
and if the North Sentinelese all of a sudden started making nuclear power, then we'd have to visit them and it would be a problem. We'd definitely at least keep an eye on them.
I've heard a lot of
Like,
theories about aliens disabling like nuclear weapons and shit. I don't know.
yes.
I'm hearing a lot of theories about that, especially in America. This shit only happens in America for some reason.
All of the information regarding this is all like super locked up, and then what comes out is like I don't know if I should trust it or not. So
Yeah.
I don't know. All it does is confuse me. It's fun as fuck to hear about, but I don't know. And even if I'm just like a normal average citizen dude, like what am I gonna do about it?
I mean,
It's
you strike me as the kind of
untouchable.
guy to subscribe to a lot of conspiracy theories out there. Am I correct in my assessment?
You,
Oh, I don't I don't subscribe to anybody. I just don't have any faith in anything.
Mm.
Religions, groups of people in general, giant corporations, politicians. Um, I
Like,
don't.
are you like hypercritical of everything?
Yes,
Oh
yes,
shit.
that's a good way to
But
put it.
but I mean, I think like living your life like that must be immeasurably suffering.
Kind of, but it's also like
What?
safe.
Because like you can't really trust anything. You just, oh, should I trust this? Should I trust the prescription the doctor just gave me? Should I trust drinking the tap water? You know what I mean?
Those are literally all things I
Doesn't it
deal with on an everyday basis of what I should be concerned about. Yeah.
fuck, that's tough.
but you even distrust
Yeah.
And
science?
you also strike me as the kind of guy to overthink stuff, right?
Uh, I guess. I don't
Like you
know.
think deeply about stuff.
I like to think about what things mean. Yeah. 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 When
Mm.
people do things, I like to think about what it means, and when people say stuff, I like to think about why they pick those specific words, or like whatever, or what that word means, or where it came from,
Hmm.
or why things are the way they are. Yeah.
Mm, mm, yeah,
I mean,
yeah, that's very interesting.
do you like distrust science, or you distrust, for example, doctors and all that, or not really? Because I feel like you kind of
Uh,
distrust everything.
the more important thing to me, like if I'm judging the trustworthiness of a person, I don't want to say I go off their vibe, but I am paying just as much attention as to what they're saying as to how they're saying it. Yeah.
Like the intention behind it, the
Yeah.
tonation. Like.
Yes. Yes. Whatever intention that I feel behind it. Yes. Because it takes effort and energy to, like, even if you were prescribing me something, you are probably excited to prescribe me the thing to solve my problem. Like, you might feel confident about it or whatever, or you might feel unsure about it, or you might have just met with a drug company and you might be prescribing it to me because it's going to make you a bunch of money. Like, I have no idea, but that's the thing I'm trying to read off your body and the way that you're
But I
speaking.
feel like
Yeah.
a lot of trustworthy things will be distrusted with this mentality because let's say there is a study out there. Now you're not going to trust the study because oh, what if they are paid? Even though usually in the studies they state who they are paid by and who paid for
Yes.
the conduction of their study. You know what I mean? But I feel like
Yes,
with this
breakfast
mentality,
is the
you
most
distrust
important meal of
everything.
the day. That was a study done by Kellogg's. Yes.
Yeah, for example. But I feel like you see that you always see that by who is paid. So I don't think we should distrust all studies and will like be critical of every single study out there, especially if it's not paid by, for example, big corporation or all that.
So it helps to understand how corruption works. Corruption isn't something that you can just eliminate. It's a tool in politics. If you don't do something corrupt, you're going to compete against people who do, and good luck with that.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
So when it comes to not trusting people, there's a good reason not to trust people, and it happens all the time. But then it comes into like, where are they cutting corners, and are they on the customer's side, or are they on the side of trying to like squeeze as much money out of you as possible? And it is very, very tricky. And I am not very, very good with people, so it's it is hard. I am somewhat gullible, I guess. If you were really trying to sucker me, we could be live streaming to like Pornhub right now, and I would believe this is Twitch or something. But like, I don't know. You could probably easily convince me of something, but not for a long, I guess, because
You
I
find
don't.
it.
I'm not. Yeah. Well, like I'll be interested. I also feel like I can tell when I've been deceived and like can investigate. Like, you know, you have autonomy. I don't know. I'm rambling, bro.
No, you're
I-
not. It's interesting.
No, but this was honestly very interesting. I think we should wrap it up though. I think we've streamed
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah, definitely.
But
Is
bro,
there somewhere that I
honestly,
can like watch the? Can you send me the
It's
channel?
on
I'd love to
YouTube.
watch.
I accidentally streamed on YouTube instead of Twitch, by the way. But it doesn't matter. Yes,
yeah.
I will
I
send
mean,
you a
by
link.
the way, we're not like extremely
We're
famous or
not
anything, so
famous or
don't
anything.
expect to be
Did anybody
thousands
watch?
of views.
I'm kind of curious. I've never done a streaming thing besides Discord
Yeah,
before.
maybe you should start doing it. I mean, you're very good at speaking. I think you might find potential success there if you
Yeah,
try it.
just
Yeah.
ramble in front of the camera, clip it up on TikTok, and I promise you, blow up. Because bro, you fluent. You feel me? Like I
Because
understood exactly what you
yeah,
meant every time you opened your mouth. So it's clear that you know you have some passion to it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
no, honestly, thank you for coming. The fact that you said yes, I was kind of surprised because I went on Discord, different voice chats, and I've been asking people, yo, do you wanna have a debate about God and all? And every single one of them said no. Like you are literally the only one who accepted this. So I guess
Wait, I
thank
want
you.
to be able to find it. Send me a link. Send me a YouTube link.
Yeah, for sure. Can you send
Okay.
it, Sean, or should I send it?
Uh, I do not have the link. You were the one who streamed.
Like yeah, but you have the channel, bro. Hold on. Let me just send it.
Uh,
Were there any
wait.
like comments? Did anybody like get
No,
mad or like have
no,
any
no. I don't think
questions
so.
or anything? I don't know.
No. Don't worry.
Oh no, no, literally no.
Plus, it was supposed to go on
Bro,
Twitch, but it didn't. For
bro, our comment section is a ghost town.
yeah, bro. Don't worry about nobody getting mad. Nah.
Yeah.
Aye, bro.
Plus, you're vocalizing your opinions anyway. Like, why would they be mad? That's
Some
insane.
people are like really, really that's actually a thing. If someone is really, because like we kind of talked about how like neutral and somewhat meaningless everything is. It's like duality. Everything has an extreme meaning. Like your relationship to your grandma has a lot of meaning to you, but everybody has relationship to their grandma. But yours is like slightly unique, and the universe makes all these unique experiences. So they're full of meaning but void of meaning. And so like
Mm.
I everything is so meaning neutral that if you hold a really, really strong point of view on something, you should probably ask yourself why you do.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Mm.
Oh hell
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, he's in the yeah.
Oh
It's
fuck,
right
yeah,
there.
well, it is. The thumbnail's kind of
Thanks
crazy.
guys.
Hold on, what?
Why is that? Why did you put that as the thumbnail?
Yo, I don't know. Yo, rookie mistake, honestly. But no, the stream, that's the stream. I mean, we're still live right now. But we should definitely wrap it up because over here
All
in
right.
Europe it's like 10 o'clock, and
Yeah.
I have some neighbors. They will complain and shit.
All
Unless you want
right.
to
Have a
stream
good
it.
day, guys, or have a good
Thank
night.
you so much,
All
man.
right, thank
Thank
you so
you,
much
thank
for
you.
coming.
It
We
was a lot of
appreciate
fun.
it.
Bye.
It was. Thank you. Honestly, that wasn't even that bad,
No, that
bro.
wasn't.